This is a training on plastics and justice for workers in the informal economy. This series has 3 goals. To consider how the mass production of plastics has impacted workers in the informal economy. To understand environmental and economic justice for informal economy workers. And to introduce the concept of a just transition. This video introduces the concept of a circular economy and interacts with some of the current trends in this space. In response to the pollution and climate change impacts of waste, governments and environmentalists are looking to policies and practices to formalize waste management and reduce waste, to promote a more circular economy, which is often also linked to efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. But the circular economy that is being proposed today looks different from the historical circular economy. Today's move towards a circular economy includes policies like the enactment of extended producer responsibility policies to make companies pay for the management of their products and packaging, single-use plastic bans, doorstep waste collection services, and dump site closure. These policies can be good for the environment and, in theory, can create opportunities for waste pickers and other reuse and repair workers. But this all depends on how the systems are designed and whether workers in informal employment are the ones who are given the opportunities. With the environmental impacts of their products and packaging becoming increasingly more visible, companies are facing pressure to find ways to reuse, or at least recycle, their products and packaging. Companies of disposable goods were some of the earliest investors in the recycling industry. But many of the materials being sold today are expensive or impossible to recycle, so many companies are promoting the use of waste-to-energy facilities to burn their discarded products. This trend is also linked to the oil and gas industry, which is the same industry that produces plastic, because plastics are made from oil and gas products. The world is responding to climate change by investing in greener energy sources like solar and wind power, rather than oil and gas. So oil and gas companies are investing heavily in the future of plastics production to recover their profit losses in oil for energy production. Thus, they are looking for ways to justify the continued production of plastics, and therefore must also ensure there is some way to realistically manage those plastics. Since many plastics today cannot be easily recycled using mechanical technologies, these companies are investing in waste-to-energy technologies like pyrolysis, which is the chemical process of breaking down waste tires into gas and oil, and incineration to burn plastics that are costly or difficult to recycle mechanically. They often describe this as part of their work in the circular economy, though most environmentalist and workers' organizations do not consider waste-to-energy to be a true circular economy approach because it is polluting and energy-intensive. Waste-to-energy technologies create pollution and contribute more to climate change than recycling or reuse. They are also often located in low-income communities, which is an environmental injustice. Furthermore, reuse, repair and recycling of materials creates more jobs than pyrolysis or landfilling. Circular economy approaches, including climate change policies, are impacting workers in different ways around the world. Workers in informal employment are often left out of the planning of circular economy approaches, and thus can be harmed by such approaches. In many places, like Argentina and Senegal, locked trash cans are being installed to keep people and animals from accessing waste. In places like France, Brazil and New York, officials are evicting street vendors of second-hand goods from the streets. Across the global South and Eastern Europe, dump sites are being closed without providing alternative livelihoods or other protections for evicted workers. In places like India, extended producer responsibility practices are creating barriers for waste pickers to access and sell recyclables. In many places, doorstep waste collections are being handed to private companies and diverting materials away from waste pickers and their organizations. Climate and circular economy approaches don't have to have a negative impact on workers in informal employment, they can also bring new opportunities. For example, the Indian waste picker organization, Hossi Rudollah, provides a zero-waste event service that has grown since the implementation of single-use plastic bans in their state. In Brazil, a reverse logistics EPR system for packaging is directly financing the operation of sorting centers run by waste picker cooperatives. In the United States and Canada, waste pickers are trying to find formal inroads back into waste systems that have become highly privatized and exclusionary over time. In Canada, commitments and policies ensuring that a certain percentage of discarded materials be recycled has enabled the waste picker organization, the Beaners Project, to get contracts sorting improperly discarded recyclables. But the new opportunities that come from circular economy approaches doesn't necessarily lead to jobs that waste pickers and other informal employment workers are organized, trained, able or willing to do. Before you answer this question, let's hear what some of our previous participants have had to say. For the circular economy, it is necessary to think about the useful life of plastic and its relationship with people's daily lives. So it is important to think about the design of plastic to reduce the production of plastic. This is fundamental for those who work with plastic collection and recycling, as it highlights the environmental and social gain of this work. This also facilitates the verticalization of this market in a self-managed way by the collectors, because otherwise we will be hostages of this industry.
We have developed our own systems of working. The problem is that we don't realize what we are doing in relation to the circular economy.
In conclusion to this session, let's go back to our organizations or network and ask this question of members. Please share your responses as a voice note or text in the chat.